and welcome to Inside Pleasantville Schools. I'm Emily Rubin Persons, your host and Board of Ed trustee. And today we have as our guests four really important people in our school district, the leaders of our parent communities. So first up we have Jen Gorsuch with the high school PCO.
Thank you, Emily, for
having us.
How are you?
Thank you. So much going on and such a completely different kind of year for the high school PCO.
Yes, it is. We have a fabulous board this year. Actually, our kids range from 5 years old to college, so it's really a fantastic group of women who have lots of different ideas and have contributed so much to it. So
that's great. It's kind of nice to get some new input and some
great.
new ideas because this year is so different. You
it
know,
is.
Some
you
of the
have to
traditional
think outside the box.
things, right, that we've been doing all these years we can't do.
Yes.
Right. So what are some of the new things you have coming up?
So actually, the difference between the middle school PTA and the PCO board is that really the PCO board is student driven. So what we do is we have our executive board, and then along with us, we have a team of parents who are dedicated to each individual year. So we have a board for 2024 through 2021, and those parents are responsible for working with the students and the class advisors who are usually faculty members. And right now they each have two teachers who are faculty members, and they work very closely with the students. So this year, obviously it's very different because, there's no traditional homecoming. Fundraising is an issue. So they're really trying to reinvent the wheel. So right now the students actually came up with 10 fabulous ideas of what to do in terms of, making up for homecoming and things like that. So, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. So Mr. Palumbo and Mr. Fondi have done a great job in supporting the classes and the classes of 2021. So we, probably in the next week or so, the class is going to announce some fun events that are coming up.
That's great.
In lieu of traditional fundraising, which is concession stands and football games and
stuff like that. I think one of the really big differences that you just said is that, in the middle school and in the elementary school, it's just one PTO, one group.
Right.
But in the high school, it's divided into the 4 grades.
Exactly.
Because a big part of your fundraising, a big part of your events is geared towards the senior year activities.
Exactly.
But this year, anytime the students are more involved in their world, I think is really great. They're so, used to being told this is what you have to do. So for them to be sitting at the table creating and,
it's really fun. It's really fun. And now they realize too, look at what happened last year. We did not have, they didn't get to have prom, unfortunately. And they realize that now, so they're starting off the year with, instead of putting all their eggs in one basket, to try to reinvent the wheel. Who knows what June is going to look like? God willing that that they'll be able to have a traditional prom, and if not, it'll be okay because they're working on alternatives.
Right. And look at what they ended up coming up with the graduation last year. That was very creative and it had a lot of special meaning, and the kids were together.
Yes.
So who knows what, some of these events can be.
Yes.
And, for the PCO, a lot of the topics I know as a parent, and I go to the PCO meetings, you have some great speakers that come in.
Yes.
A lot of partnerships. Tell us about some of the other groups that the PCO partners with.
So we partner pretty closely with Break the Hold, which is an incredible organization. Pleasantville Strong, so important. And also with the library, we promote programming through the library. There's a lot of opportunity for students. At least in a regular year, a normal year without COVID, for tutoring programs.
Yeah, I've seen that on your e-blast feed.
Yes. So one of our ideas is maybe try to hook that up again. They could do it via Zoom. Everyone's doing things via Zoom these days. So I think people are pretty used to doing that. And ultimately we raise money when we're fundraising this year, also because it's very different. We didn't have a traditional back to school night. It's not like people showed up with their checkbooks and ready to give. So each account has a Venmo account. It makes it much easier. So we're going to be continuing to push that out through Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and through our blast, through Mr. Palumbo's weekly. So through that, we actually, our community partnerships, we are going to look ahead to get some more different speakers and programming and partner up with, an SAT prep course or Wendy Freed with WordCraft and all of these different, and work closely with the guidance department.
Right, you were mentioning that with the whole, because the whole college process is different.
Yes.
And, the guidance department, each of the counselors are fantastic, but, they've got an array of students, and every student is different. So, they can't be the end all in telling us where our kids should be going to school or all of that. It's a big process.
Exactly. So they did a terrific job last night with the financial aid night. I have a junior this year, but I was like, let me tune in.
Sure.
Just to get an idea of what this is all about, because it's been a gazillion years since my husband and I went through the college process.
It's a completely different thing, and there's so much more money on the table. But I think also kids are maybe thinking about different things because, if you're going to be virtual, do you consider school right away? Do you, there's a lot of different
Do you go
choices.
to Westchester Community College and transfer those credits and save your money? There's a lot of different opportunity out there.
Yeah.
And again, it's so different. But
so partnering with the guidance, that's kind of a little bit of a newer thing. I don't know if the PCO has really gotten into that category.
So we're really looking forward to that.
Great.
And also, again, I mean, the college process is so stressful to begin with, and it just, so really looking forward through our bi-monthly PCO meetings. Our last one was incredible. It was all centered around mental health.
Yeah.
And another new thing, which I love, because I love listening to podcasts, is that we turned it into a podcast, so you could actually just plug in your earphones while you're walking the dog or whatever you're doing and listen to it.
I am a huge podcast fan.
Right, I know. I see you walking your dog with
I'm
your
listening all the time to all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And actually, your last meeting you had Pleasantville Strong.
We did.
You had Empowered Living.
Yes.
You had BTH.
Yes.
And, with the stress, I mean, there was a big Pleasantville Strong event a couple of years ago, and people don't think of the stresses that kids have, that come from sports, that come from academics, that come from parents, that come from the social.
Yes.
And, they do a good job of hiding things.
Yes.
But, there's nothing wrong with, reaching out and having friends, being aware. And I love that we're expanding on that and just making it part of the normal conversation.
Yes, it's so important, and I think it's part of the conversation. I mean, we're living in a world uncharted. None of us have ever been through this. It's difficult. It's isolating. It's stressful. We don't know what's going to happen. It gives a lot of us anxiety that we maybe normally did not have. But it's also, I mean, it's incredible because it's just so important. Even if you feel like you don't have a specific problem or a specific issue, to talk about it. And I think these kids...
And it's normalizing it.
Yes, it's normalizing
by having, you've got your e-blast feed, and I love that you're now partnering a lot of those feeds with the other parent groups.
Yes.
So that you've got, the middle school, the elementary school, as well as SEPTA. So it's just bringing some of these topics up to, because the younger parents don't necessarily know what's coming.
Right.
We know, we could tell them, oh, hey, this is what's coming up, but they're still in the elementary school and they're thinking just in their little world. But by getting it all in the same feed, it really opens up oh, yeah, this is going to be coming up for me. So,
that's great.
And Strong is starting to come into the elementary school. So, it brings that conversation into a much more normal
It
thing.
does,
So,
and also with the other connection between the middle school and the high school is the DBT Steps A program being sponsored through Break the Hold too, so that all of that language and it's just great. It's great. It's a great community.
We're just about out of time. Aside from telling everybody to please become a member.
Please join the PCO.
Please join the PCO.
Yeah,
is there any other, thing, community partners, parents involvement?
Yes, this is the time to get involved. You can't be anywhere in person at the school.
Right.
Anyway, so, you work full time like I do. It's a great opportunity to get involved. Mm-hmm. Definitely reach out to us. Another thing that's really important, and again, my email box is full. I have a middle schooler and a high schooler. Read the communication. Take advantage of the blast. Mr. Palumbo sends out a weekly. He actually sometimes even sends out a daily.
Yes.
There's always pertinent information in there. We're trying really hard to also share that through the PCO. I mean, when when I had my ninth grader come in as a freshman, I felt kind of like so distant, like I don't know what's going on at the high school, because it's all about the students. The students are the ones that have to communicate with the teachers, their coaches, their guidance counselors.
Which they need now, because it's life skills. These kids are going to walk across a stage in 4 years, and they need to be able to use their own voice, because we can't be telling them what to do all the time.
Exactly.
So I love that student involvement.
Exactly.
Yes, and the parents are kind of on the outside, helping.
Exactly, but it's also nice to know what's going on, so you could have that conversation with your child when they come home from school and say, I heard that next week is the National Honor Society for Foreign Languages is due. Like, what do you think about that?
What do you think about that?
What are your thoughts about that? So you kind of know what's going on, but you're not like, you have to do this, and I see this is coming up, and you have to do that. So it's really nice to kind of have the FYI.
Sure, and the emails come out on Sunday, so it's easy to find.
Yes.
So well, lots of different things coming up this year, but it's exciting. The silver lining is the change and creativity and outside the box.
Yes, and reinventing the wheel. And the great thing is, like I said before, it comes from the students. One really great thing we're excited about, which Mr. Palumbo's been working with Student Council, is the advisory groups that they're doing within the classrooms. And basically it's conversations that the students are having with the teachers, and building relationships is so important, especially everything that's going on right now.
Right.
So
okay.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
We'll see you around campus.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much,
care.
Emily.
Thank you. And so now I'm here with the middle school PTA official, Danielle Dispenza. So how are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
And thank you. I mean, this is a great studio.
It's great. And the parent groups are such an important part of our district. I don't think our children's experiences throughout their educational life would be what they are without the PTA, PCO, and SEPTA. There's so many things that are brought in to the schools through the help of the PTA.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, what's one of your favorite things that is happening?
Well, I think I'm surrounded by many when I say Hemisphere Day.
Right.
For the 5th and 6th grade.
Love Hemisphere Day.
Hemisphere Day is a chance for parents to come into the classrooms.
Yeah.
Which isn't just regular curriculum. It is a transformation of these classrooms into other countries.
I know,
and
I
it's
loved
cultural, and it's incredible. It's an incredible experience.
Yeah, I did the China room for all 3 of my kids because we had lived in Hong Kong, so I loved doing that, and we always brought in jellyfish and had the kids eat jellyfish.
Oh, nice.
And you'd hear about all the different rooms and the food and all of that. Now, I guess we didn't do Hemisphere Day last year, so this year changing it up, coming up with some other ideas on what it might be.
Right. So in the spring, the teachers collaborated, and they did some sort of Hemisphere Day experience for the children, for the students. They logged in on their devices and experience cultural feedback. Hopefully, my son was in 6th, so he experienced it.
Okay.
I'm just so happy he had his 5th grade experience in person.
Right.
But they pulled together very, very quickly, as we all had to.
Right.
So they had something.
Right.
I hope in the spring things are different.
Look, it's a time to think outside the box.
Right.
And, the kids are coming into school 2 days a week. So, it's possible. Who knows what's possible for Hemisphere Day. But the PTA does so much more. I think sometimes parents are like, community members think, well, what exactly does why should I even join? But, there's so much enrichment that you bring into for the kids as well as into the classroom, right? You've got pizza day and then classroom stuff.
Supplies that teachers may need to, now that we're remote or hybrid remote, teachers are also thinking out of the box. And sometimes they need new supplies to, for example, science, labs.
Yeah. How do they do that?
So we are helping out with providing extra supplies for teachers to bring and spread around
to kids to maybe do some of the labs a little bit at home as well. And that's right. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Because our budget, the school budget is so tight anyway, and now this year even more so because of all of the extra, safety and health supplies that we have to get. Where do you come up with some of the ideas? Is it just the insular group of the Pleasantville PTA? Do you chat with some of the other?
So that's a great question. So in normal pre-pandemic times, I would host a beautiful PTA gathering, maybe at my lunch in my kitchen table, and we would just come up with concepts and brainstorm. And that's the fun part, to see something click just in conversation.
Right.
And where can we take this? And where is it going to go? And how is it going to look?
Right.
And then to be at an event and watching that coffee conversation come to life.
Sure.
Mr. Mara and Dr. Chagaras have been amazing brainstorming with us.
Oh, good.
We bounce everything off of them.
That's great.
Their support has been incredible. And so basically there's a lot of...
there's so much creativity in Pleasantville.
Yeah.
There's so many ideas. And some of the things, just even what the, for a couple of years in a row, the 8th grade party was at that event place.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called now, Infinity, right? And then when our boys were in 8th grade, they brought the party back to campus.
Yes, we did.
Which my oldest son, they always transformed the multipurpose room. And then they went out and then they came back again. And that was an amazing party.
That was a great...
It was a whole day.
It was incredible to be part of that this past 2 years ago.
It was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It was 2 years ago.
Our boys are in...
and I was just talking with Jen from the high school PCO, and the thing that she brought up was how much more involved the students are in the high school events, which, I think just bounces off of all of the events that the kids are seeing that happen in the middle school, because they're seeing Pizza Day.
Right.
And like the hot dog guy come. Yeah. And the fun, some of these things. And it's like, oh, wait, we want these to continue.
Right.
But the parents take a step back in the high school. So,
right. So they find their voice to make it happen.
Right.
That's incredible.
Which I really love.
That's
incredible. Love. And, so now, like, you didn't have some of the move-in and some of these other things. What are some of the big events that you have coming up? Guest speakers or anything like that?
So we really don't want to bring anybody into the building until the district is comfortable with that, and the state and the world. So we're not in those planning stages as of yet. Okay. Unfortunately.
You just have to wait and see, if anything can be done in a Zoom situation but I do believe that Mr. Mara said that Curious on the, what's it called?
Curious on Hudson.
Is that going to be starting up?
That is going to, and it's virtual.
That's going to be virtual.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And what about any after school clubs? Not yet.
No. The athletic program has started.
That started, which is good.
So that's wonderful that these kids can feel some normalcy.
Yeah. And student council is in place, and you've got the green bandana going.
We have the green bandana going.
Right.
We're doing fundraising for that right now to start.
Just remind me again, the green bandana is a fundraiser for not just school supplies.
No. So the green bandana fund started because it was an idea from the red bandana story of Wells Crowther on 9/11. Right. There's a book. Right. And his mother came and knows Jen Gorsuch, who you just spoke to. So kindness, thinking of others, doing for others. Right. And doing for others within our own community. Mm-hmm. And the way this Green Bandana Fund works is that we do raise money to help those within our community who can't afford certain things to be part of the school experience, and class trips.
Right, and it racks up.
And it does.
It really racks up. You don't notice it. $20 here, $25 there. By the end of the year, there's quite a number of things that, in order for our kids to participate. And
it starts at day one.
It starts at day one.
It starts at day one with school supplies.
With the school supplies, right.
So we help
I think
those
that's great.
within our school.
Because you don't want to miss out on a field trip or, and this time, at this time, the needs of, we don't have field trips right now, but there's other things that are going on or will be going on. So membership is really important. I know that, it's always hard to get everybody to join. They don't understand, what difference it makes, but it's only 3 Starbucks coffees.
That's right. Right. So just to break it, right. So if you break it down all together, the Green Bandana Fund helps those in need.
Right.
Membership, which we are very low on, and we hope people join this year.
Yes.
Membership helps the school.
Right.
In general, and departments. All the way from the playground equipment for recess.
Okay.
Which
is really important because the kids are out there. I mean, right now you probably had to get extra equipment. I remember Mrs. Galati saying each grade has their own bag of stuff. So cleaning the supplies.
Right. So we work with Miss Hill on that.
Okay.
She, even on the indoor activities, the games and everything that they need to do indoors and outdoors.
And that comes from
all
the
the way from recess to science and everything in between.
Right.
So we're there to help enrich the school. And then there's something called class dues.
Right.
So class dues are specific for your grade.
Right. And what does that go towards?
And that goes towards your activities as a grade. So your fun night.
Right. Okay.
And fun night, again, I don't know what that's going to look like this year.
Mm-hmm.
We're putting them all on hold. Maybe we can squeeze them in at the end of the year.
And if you're doing the social distancing, maybe there could be smaller groups where, I don't know, bingo. You could do bingo where everyone's a little where people are sitting. You might not be able to be in a big tight crowd, but maybe they could figure out a way to be in a play, and I know the PTA is involved with the play and costuming and all that kind of thing. And your teachers join the PTA.
Our teachers do join. They're awesome. We've got great support from all of them.
Which is,
they're incredible.
they see, because they're reaping the benefits of all of this.
Yeah, and they reach out to us as well. I mean, that open line of communication is fabulous.
Yeah.
We have somebody on staff who's the liaison.
Right.
And
that's good.
Circles back with us.
That's good. And I love, the e-blasts come out on Sunday, which, the board sends out e-blasts, and I've suggested, well, let's do what the PTA does, because it always comes out on like Sundays at 5, and you just look for it.
Right.
You know it's going to be there.
Right.
And I see now you have the e-blasts saved on your website, which is great. So if you by accident deleted something, instead of just going out into social media, you know that the email is there with all that.
So Diana Nessel, my co-president, has really jumped in on the tech end of everything.
Oh, so great.
And she worked with Julie Schwartz to work on the...
to get that going.
Yeah.
That's great.
She did a great job.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're just about out of time. Is there anything more?
Gosh.
I know, right? It goes fast. We could sit here and talk for 3 hours about what's going on in the middle school. I mean, because you've come up from the elementary school, and that whole PTA is very different in a way.
So I wasn't on that PTA.
But you were involved. You did some events,
right? I was fundraising, apparel. I got my feet wet. It was great to jump in at middle school.
The book sale here, an event there. And now you're in the middle school, and do you get involved in the PCO at all? Because you have
a little bit. I'm on my son's class, on our boys' class.
In that respect. So,
but like you said, they're taking the initiatives now. We're just here to help and guide and move it along.
That's right. It's nice, and I think, the PTA. I mean, somebody I'm friends with. She was very involved in the PTA, even though she worked a very difficult full-time job in the city, but she was able to participate in different ways. And I know it's a big social world, and it's a big social connection. And you always need an extra hand. There's always something for somebody to do.
And there's always a way in which you can volunteer your time.
I agree.
Even if it's just at home on the computer.
Right.
Or, in the
making
building.
Phone calls.
Exactly.
I mean, we don't have to stuff envelopes anymore, but, there's always something that people can get involved with.
Teamwork, and it's amazing
and creativity.
to be a part of.
Right now we need those creative juices. Maybe somebody has an idea that they could forward and say, hey, what about this? Or hey, what about that?
Yeah, we look at other schools
Sure.
in the surrounding area.
Okay.
We do. We have some connections in other
Right.
towns.
Sure.
There's a lot of brainstorming. And the PTA National, in general, feeds us
Oh,
a
that's
lot
great.
of information to keep it fresh as well.
Sure. That's true. That's true. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining me today,
having
and looking forward to all the new events coming up this year.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. So now we're here with Chris Wood and Special Ed PTA, SEPTA. So, what is SEPTA?
Well, we're a program that supports families in Pleasantville who have children with special needs.
Right.
And that could be anywhere from preschool up to age 21.
That's an important thing that I didn't know. I think a lot of people didn't know. Preschool to 21, which is very different from our other parent groups.
Yes.
So it's a very broad range of families.
Right. And inside that broad, there's another broad range
Right.
of anything from ADHD needs, anxiety, autism,
Yeah.
intellectually disabled,
Yeah.
a learning disability.
Yeah.
We-
That's a lot of different categories.
Yes.
And I think that's something I didn't know. I have a son who is dyslexic, so I didn't join SEPTA right away. I wasn't really thinking about that because I was thinking SEPTA was more for stronger special ed needs. And then I realized, wait a minute, I have needs. You know, my kid has needs. I need to be in this community.
That's right. And, we're here to support each other.
Yeah.
And it's really helpful, especially when parents are new
Yeah.
to an IEP or a 504, to maybe have more of a peer, another
Right.
parent to talk to about it.
Right.
And even if their child's needs are totally different, there's still a connection.
Right, because going into a 504 meeting is a little unnerving, or an IEP. And if your child is only diagnosed with something in 8th grade, it's like a whole new world. It's like, wait a minute, what does this even mean? Because some kids are only diagnosed with even autism. Some people are not diagnosed with autism until much later in life. So it's like, wait a minute, what's going on here? So yeah, to reach out and say, hey, what does a 504 meeting even look like, and how do I prepare?
Correct.
So the
yeah.
community is there to support that, which is really important.
And we're also fortunate in this district that we have some really amazing teachers, psychologists, therapists,
Yeah.
administration that really supports it.
Right.
And we have wonderful programs. And, you need to be your own advocate, but you also, need to listen and just take it all in. And
Right.
it is overwhelming. It can be overwhelming.
it can be.
It can hurt. So
Sure.
I tell
But-
parents to read the IEP thoroughly before they go into the meeting because it makes it a little easier.
Yeah, read the IEP, and I think, understanding that you do need to be your own advocate because every neurodiverse brain is different. There are no two the same. So whatever your child's issue is, it's completely different from the next diagnosis. So you really do need to do your own research to figure out, and your family is different, and your values, and all of that. So you need to have that information for yourself so that when you go in and the special ed team in the IEP says whatever it is that they're going to say, you're comfortable
Right.
with receiving that information
Right.
and determining if that's the right approach, or because it's
Right. And I think you also have to give yourself time to digest it even after the meeting.
yes,
And they're open to follow-ups.
sure,
And, that's your right, and you can go and ask
Yeah.
for another meeting to discuss part of the
Right.
evaluation or something that you don't understand.
right.
So,
And being part of the community and having the other SEPTA parents available
Yes.
to tap into is really important. But you also tap in. You're a big part of the other parent groups. I mean, I know I went to that movie that you hosted last year with Pleasantville Strong. It was was it last year or the year
yes, it
before?
was last year.
Only last
and
year,
I think
huh?
it was just about a year ago, November.
Oh my goodness. That was, what was that? It was
On
anger?
anxiety.
Anxiety.
Yeah.
That was such.
It was a good turnout.
It was a great turnout, and I think that, even many neurotypical brains suffer from anxiety.
Yeah.
and students, there's so, and this year, oh my goodness, with COVID, there's a lot of different levels of, I mean, some kids are doing great because they don't have to go to school every day.
Right.
And other kids are missing that day-to-day. But, partnering with Pleasantville Strong and the other PTAs is really wonderful to make the conversation more natural.
Yeah. And actually, where SEPTA is putting together another speaker event for next month about that, about navigating the whole COVID with our children.
Yeah.
So it's hopefully will be helpful, and also it's a broader audience that we're reaching out to.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what we're trying to do also. We're trying to, come up with speaker events, things like executive functioning that a lot of children are struggling with.
Everybody
and,
is.
Like we were speaking earlier, and that can cause some anxiety.
Right.
So there's a lot that connects.
There's a lot that connects, and I think that, when the district brought the special ed program into the district, actually when my son was in kindergarten, so he's the class of 2018, and the advantage, I believe, for the students to grow up having their classmates of all different sizes, shapes, styles, again, I just keep using the word normal, it normalizes things. It's like, because in the grown-up world, we work and play with all different types of people, and we have to be comfortable with that. And if we're only in a capsule, what happens when we walk past that stage at graduation? We need to be able to be comfortable and realize that everybody is unique and marvelous in their own ways. So, that's why I think it's great that we do have SEPTA, and, you're part of the regular PTA, the PTA in the middle school, elementary, and PCO. You're on their e-blast, so that's really, and then, what else is it that goes on with, do you coordinate with other SEPTAs in around Westchester, or is it pretty much just with Pleasantville?
We have coordinated in the past, but we do a lot just in Pleasantville because I think we have such a big community of families with children with special needs. And then we'll send out things to other SEPTAs to let them know. For example, we're showing a movie on anxiety.
And maybe they'll want to participate.
Right,
and then there's advocacy, for the families themselves, and then also to the education department. That's an important aspect of. I remember there was an event a couple of years ago. Now I don't remember what this was, but there was a big push on an advocacy effort, and for kids to get the things that they need and to have the state funding. A lot of times the state isn't funding what they should be funding.
Yes.
And that becomes a little bit of a challenge.
Yes, or things change.
Reporting changes, or, guidelines change. Right. I know. And it does make it difficult. But, having the preschool through 21 is a very broad range of families. So do you have representatives from the other PTAs on the SEPTA board, or do they partner? How does that?
Well, we have 2 reps from our board in each building.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so there are 2 in BRS, 2 middle school, 2 high school.
So you're tapped into that age group.
Correct. Right. And we try to have an age range of parents on the board.
Right.
Or their children have an age range.
And the children have an age range. And so your needs are, it's not like the elementary school where they're all thinking about, a special event that just focuses on one age group and your different needs. And I know they, like with sporting events, the kids with their sporting, what's it?
The VIP.
The VIP club. I mean, that's, and you can partner with some of the high school kids, don't they participate?
Correct. Each child has a partner from high school, and we do basketball and soccer. Unfortunately, we're not doing soccer right now because of the virus, but it's wonderful because then, like my daughter, for example, will see these high schoolers, downtown, and you know, she gets a hug from them,
and that's
or
a buddy.
hello, and right, she knows somebody else. And it's wonderful too for children with special needs to have some kind of a bond with other kids in the community that might not be in their grade or building at the time.
Right. Right.
So.
It's really important. Again, you know, we live in a big world, and you know, I think with the conversation now about diversity and equity and inclusion, it's in so many different capacities. It's not just about culture or color, but it's intellectual as well, to have that inclusion. And you know, having this broad, having the kids in district shows how everybody can participate together.
That's right.
And have such a positive impact on each other. You know, I know it's really been great. What do you need everybody to join? Right?
Oh,
of
we
course,
would love that. Yes, yes. Membership is $35, and you can find the link on the e-blasts on Sunday nights.
$35. That's just a few Starbucks coffees. Just a few, like 1 week's worth of Starbucks coffees or less than 1 week's worth. So to get you in,
less than a tank of gas,
less than a tank of gas, and that, you know, brings the partners. I know Dr. Martin Kutcher was here a couple of years ago, who was an amazing presenter and a real expert in executive functioning and ADHD, and that was a well-attended event. So you know, having these speakers come in is so important.
Right. So that's what this money goes towards.
Yeah.
Speaker events.
Right.
The last couple of years, we've had a fun Halloween party at BRS for the young kids.
For the young kids.
Where everyone was welcome, and it was quite a turnout last year. You know, every walk of life was there.
Right.
And unfortunately, we couldn't do that this year. And we've also, the money goes towards things like that. It also goes towards things like our 18 to 21 year program. For example, right now we just donated some money to them because normally that program is built a lot around the kids doing
like life skills.
Life skills and internships.
Right.
And the internships, of course, can't be done now.
Oh, yes.
So the teachers in that amazing program put their heads together, and they actually started a little business of them making hand sanitizer and just learning the whole, you know,
so great.
everything you need to do to have a little business.
Oh, that's so great.
From buying the products, making the products, boxing it up, inputting things in the computer, selling it to local businesses.
Wow.
But they needed some seed money.
Sure.
So we contributed to that. So, you know, we really try to get out
is
there
amazing.
to that whole community.
Right,
And
right.
but it can add up quickly. So the membership is a lot to help us with that.
Sure.
We do have a few fundraisers every year, and again, unfortunately, we couldn't have
Right,
our
you
two
always
big
have the
ones
spa
last year.
night.
We have spa night, and then we have our end of the year event,
Right.
where we usually present awards to, you know, there's usually a teacher and a parent
Right.
and a couple of kids from the schools who have done a lot
Right.
with the programs, and we usually have we have auctions.
Sure.
So
That's great.
we make
Wow.
money that way.
I love that little business.
Yes, isn't that amazing?
It really is,
Yeah.
because you know, I had my own business for a long time, and it was hard but easy. I mean, there's certain things that just kind of generate, you know, you have to buy the product, you have to package the product, and you have to sell the product.
Right.
And you've got to buy it at this price and sell it at this price. And, you know, it's kind of the way we run our households even, you know, you have
That's
so much
right.
money coming in and so much money goes out. So it's such an important life skill for everybody, actually,
Yes.
but for these kids. And is that being done in the high school, or is that at WCC?
I think it's being done at the high school right now.
Wow, I love that.
Yes.
I
Yes.
really love that. There's so much. There's so many different categories. I really, you know, I hope that this event brings more attention to all the wonderful things that SEPTA does, because
I hope
it's
so.
it's a big community.
Yeah.
So is there anything else that you, we talked, I mean, we could sit here and talk for a long time. We were on the phone yesterday for a really long time. So, but I think, the partners with Pleasantville Strong, I think this life skill program is wonderful, and just all the partnerships that bring the kids from the different age groups to working together is really great.
Yeah, I think we covered everything.
We got it all.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me
Oh,
today.
thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And we'll do it again.
Okay.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Hi. So now we're here with our Bedford Road PTA official, Andy Bush. So thank you for joining me at the table to talk about everything PTA in the elementary school.
Thank you
What is going on?
Well, this year is definitely different, to say the least. And it has been, we are a team of 5 right now.
Okay.
Danielle Cayley is my co-president, and Amy McCarthy is our vice president, Courtney Boyce is our treasurer, and Carrie Gregerson is our secretary. We are all new. All of us just came on last year.
Okay.
So we're all figuring this out as we go as well.
So you're figuring it all out just as new on the board, but also in this time of COVID, which,
yes,
could be a little bit of a silver lining to just change some things up and come up with some new ideas, not being held to the traditional events of this, that, and the other thing.
Yes, we're definitely thinking outside of the box right now.
Right. So what are some of the things you have coming up?
Well, our first thing that's really exciting that we have is our PTA meeting. We traditionally do a coffee with the principals.
Right.
So we're going to do that Zoom with Peggy and Rachel coming up on October 28th at 8 p.m., I believe.
In the evening?
Yes. Well, that's something that we decided. Last year we added evening meetings. So we would do a morning meeting as well as an evening because we really just want to reach everybody.
Sure.
And right now, with all of our kids being home during the day, we thought the best way to reach all parents is in the evening. And now we don't need babysitters.
Now you don't need babysitters. And I'll tell you, I bet you will get a big turnout. I know just from our board meetings being on Zoom, we have many more people joining to listen because they can just turn on the computer.
Right.
So that's great. October 28th for the first PTA meeting. Okay, that's good.
And it's really going to be a Q&A with Mrs. Galati and Mrs. Hunger. So come with questions.
Right.
It'll hopefully be a nice conversation.
To learn, all the different enrichment things that the PTA brings to the school. I mean, I don't think, for parents who are not involved, I don't think they realize how much the PTA brings into the classroom and for the students, right?
Right. I mean, I don't think I realized until I was involved as I am now.
Okay.
What
surprised you? What were some of the things that you were like, oh, the PTA does that?
Well, the garden, for one.
That
the garden is run completely by volunteers and funded by our fundraising efforts in PTA.
And the garden is such a fabulous. And in the middle school, it's also big. They bring the different classes. I mean, they make it almost a part of the curriculum.
Yes.
And I would imagine at the elementary school as well.
Yes. Our volunteers help the kids plant. They learn about the plants that they're planting, and then they harvest them in the spring. They get to see it from start to finish.
Yeah, it's so great.
And it's so rewarding for the kids.
Yeah.
And then the kids get to try the vegetables that they have planted and grown.
I love that.
And it's beautiful.
And then you have like a nutrition program that taps, it's like almost a continuation or feeds off of that.
Our nutrition program is in the cafeteria. We, 4 times a year, serve something different to all the students.
Okay.
One of our favorites is popcorn cauliflower. So it's really just roasted cauliflower.
Sure.
But the kids end up loving it, and I think that they're more willing to try in the school environment and around their peers. They're going to try it. Whereas if you serve that at home, they'll say, "Oh, I don't like cauliflower."
No way.
But we've had so many parents reach out and say, "Can I have that recipe? Because my kid loves this now."
Oh, that's so great.
It's great that the kids are trying healthy foods.
Right. And you have, there's so many things. I love the Healthy Heart Week, and there's so many, the movie night, which of course we didn't get to do this year, but the barbecue. So there's, and then stuff in the classroom that you participate with. What are some of those things?
Well, we have math enrichment programs. once a year for every grade level, there's a whole morning where volunteers come in and we set up math stations, and kids just get to do something that they normally wouldn't get to do in the classroom. And it supports the curriculum. We try to work with the teachers to make sure it's really supporting their curriculum. And the kids just really have fun with it, and the parents get to come in, hopefully. Hopefully that will happen again.
It's you know, I definitely got to come into the classroom and do a variety of things, and I love that the teachers are also part of the PTA.
Yes.
Which helps because they're benefiting from the enrichment programs that you're able to add on to. And you know, you're bringing in culture, and I guess there might be some virtual events you can add on to this year.
Yes, we always have cultural arts events for the students that support the curriculum as well. I know, like in kindergarten, there's a circus program that comes in that supports their circus at the end of the year. So we're looking at this year trying to have some virtual author visits in the winter. We feel like that's when parents will really be, and the teachers hopefully will really appreciate that in the winter. So we're looking at, you know, having some author visits virtually.
And you partnering, you know, I love that the eBless are now coming out from the, like all 3 PTAs, you know, kind of all tapping onto each other. Because I mean, many, like you have a kid in the middle school as well as in the elementary school, so to have some of the information streamlined, and then also with Strong, right? Now we've got Pleasantville Strong coming down into the elementary school to do some building of awareness of, and normalizing the conversation of things that might pop up for families later on down the line, and hopefully prevent things that might pop up down the line. You know, I think that's, you know, we all kind of want our kids to stay little, but you know, you do kind of have to keep your eyes open for what's coming up. You know, I had Jen Gorsick here, and she was talking about the fact that now the kids in the high school are driving a lot of the PCO events, which just is an attestment to everything that happens in the elementary school and in the middle school, because the kids are like, wait, I want to have this, I want to have that. We had so much fun, so let's keep it, you know, which I love, you know. That's
what we hope. We really hope that we get the kids engaged and happy, and the families too. We want to connect the families, you know, with each other too. We try to do social events once or twice a year to try to get families out there and talking with each other. And like you mentioned, we have the barbecue, movie night, and then we've also tried to add in some just parent social nights, which we may look at doing virtually as well, because we think it's really important for the whole community to be connected.
It really is, and I think we saw, you know, one of the things that Mary Fox Alter, you know, we're a community, and the principals brought this up as well. You know, we're not these little silos. Each school is very dependent on each other, and the principals work really closely together to drive this ship forward. And the parent groups are a big part of that, from SEPTA to the element, you know, all of them. We're all together in building that leads to internships, that leads to, you know, like Chris Wood was just talking about the high school kids partnering with the elementary school special ed kids, you know, wonderful. And forming these relationships, which is really, you know, and the membership now, I guess you can't do as much of the fundraising, which is why we need to get more parents.
For sure. We, you know, our membership is our biggest fundraiser. Especially now when we can't do other things like our bake sale, you know, that didn't happen in the spring. So that's one of our other bigger fundraisers. So right now it really is important that we have our membership. And it's harder for us to reach parents right now because you know, we don't have back to school now. We're not seeing people in person.
And we're overloaded with email, so we might not always open the email. Which, so it's like, open that email and make sure you see all that information.
That is true. That our blast is like the best way to get information from us. It comes out every Sunday. So signing up for the blast and then opening it once you get it, there really is important information in there. And that's
and then I know the middle school's e-blasts are saved on their website, and I think the tech is trying to get that so that all the e-blasts for each of the PTAs and PCO and SEPTA, so that the e-blast is also landed on your page, so that way if somebody by accident deletes they can get that
There'll be a way to get
information.
it.
Right, I know. There's so much information. You know, we get too many emails, but you know, it's our children and
Right.
it's our community, so you want to make sure you don't miss out on anything.
Right. And we do try to streamline it, keep it simple, keep it fun too. There are
Yeah.
fun events in there too.
Right. Do you think you'll get to do the book fair? We were talking about
Yes.
that.
We actually just confirmed we are doing an online book fair this
good.
year. It's going to start mid-November.
Okay.
And you'll order your books. You know, won't be coming into the gym anymore to check out the books, but you can order online and they're shipped directly to you.
Okay.
And we chose those dates so that they'll be here before the holidays.
Oh, good.
So your books will be in. You can order books for gifts for your kids and support the PTA while you're doing that.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a time that, you know, we do need to work together and be creative. So, you know,
Yes.
it's good that you have a new team because you're like, okay, what new things can we bring in?
Right.
You know, and the weather's been warm, so at least the kids are able to be outside a little bit more,
Yes.
which definitely helps.
That has been good.
So maybe some creative things will pop up for the winter.
Yes.
Bingo.
We're
Maybe we
hoping
can get the kids playing bingo, or like, what could we do socially distant? You know?
Right. Yeah,
don't
we're
know.
definitely looking into some creative options, and not just for the kids, but for parents too, because I think parents need it just as much as the kids do right
We
now.
need to, you know, the isolation is tough, and I know just a parent of 3 kids, I've seen my friends, you know, you make your friends through these parent communities. It's so important.
Absolutely.
It's so important, and everybody's always welcome. I mean, I was never on a PTA board, but whenever I was able to participate, it was always with welcome arms to come on in and do whatever you can. And I know sometimes working parents feel that, you know, they won't be able to participate, but there's so many things.
There's always something. I mean, we do family fitness night in the evenings.
Okay.
So that's something where, you know, the families can all come and participate together.
Oh, that's fun.
We do try to have evening events as well so that working families can
participate. And maybe somebody has an idea that they can share with you.
Absolutely.
You never
We're
know.
always open to ideas.
Yeah.
And you know, we do that. That is our goal: is to unite everybody and have everybody come together for our kids.
Right.
So
Right.
we're always open. There's always volunteer opportunities. Joining the PTA though does not mean that you're volunteering at all.
Absolutely.
That is a big misconception. That if I join the PTA, I'm like, you know, giving away my time.
No.
It definitely is not. But we are always open to help.
I mean, you know, I know that the directory book is no longer printed.
It's not.
I
It's
mean,
online now.
I still have some of those books because it's got all of the parents. And I joined, I mean, at the least of it, I joined just to get the directory book because I want all those phone numbers and emails of all the parents. And, you know, one of the things that's important is that the relationships that you develop in elementary school, you know, those kids are going to be high school students soon.
Yes.
And you're not going to be on the playground with the parents, so it's really important those connections because you're in high school together and different issues come up, so you
Very true.
need those connections. So by
Right.
participating in any way brings
Right.
that community together.
That's true. And we don't have the paper form anymore for the directory, but it's in an app now.
It's in an app.
So it is still available.
Okay.
So if you're a member, you will still have access to that
okay.
electronic.
Well, I
version.
highly recommend. I mean, just the directory alone is huge.
Yes.
I agree. So, okay, well, we're basically out of time. Is there anything else that you want to, any other favorite event? Or, I mean, I know you love the nutrition and the
Yes.
garden. I mean, I can't even, there's so many different events that go on in the school. It's so busy.
So many. I mean, such a long list of things that we do. You know, this year may look a little different, but we
Okay.
are thinking outside the box and, like I said, bringing some virtual events to
Okay.
our students.
Great.
And so be on the lookout for those things.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
And see you around the community.
Yes. Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining this edition of Inside Pleasantville Schools. I'd like to thank our parent groups for joining me today. They are such an important part of your children's educational life. So please, if you haven't joined your particular school member, PTA or PCO or SEPTA, please do because it benefits your children. And I look forward to seeing you on our next edition of Inside Pleasantville Schools. Have a great day.